Good morning, everyone. My name is Ayana Jones. I work for the CollegeBound Foundation. Thank you for attending our Train the Trainer event here today. We will have actually two this month. Shameless plug, we will have one in 2 weeks on Wednesday, May the 24th. I will put the registration in the chat for that. But today, we are so glad to have here Joanne Case. She's going to be talking about early college awareness and awarding. As you guys know, I previously worked for Stevenson University, been here at CollegeBound going on 10 years now. So happy this is our second school year having these Train the Trainer events. This is a slight twist on an old topic that we did last year, which was early college awareness. Now we're doing early college awareness and awarding. Joanne Case works for the foundation, community foundation of Wabash County out in Indiana. And she's done a great job with their early awarding program. She's done lots of things, including even being an English as a second language teacher. So I'm gonna let Joanne tell you a little bit more about herself, and then we'll go right into the presentation for today. Two last housekeeping pieces of information. I will also drop a survey, evaluation of today's training. And on Saturday, we are going to be at Johns Hopkins University. The CollegeBound Foundation will have our Rising Ninth Grade Success Seminar for our 8th graders transitioning into high school. So I will also drop a link for that if you want to read a little bit more about that. But enough with the shameless plugs. It's time for Miss Joanne Case, everyone.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate being invited to this event. It's great to see all of you. And as was mentioned, I'm the program director of the Early Award Scholarship Program at the Community Foundation. And I've worked here at the foundation for 7 years. I've been interested in education throughout my life. My first job out of college was as a technical writer for an educational software company. And then I wrote test items for state assessments at ACT. I ran a family literacy program at the YMCA for birth through 5 children. And then, sort of wondering if I'd missed my calling as a teacher, I went back to school and I earned my transition to teaching credential. But I still did not want to run my own classroom. And that's when I joined the Community Foundation. So again, though, I find myself in schools a lot and supporting students, but just not as a teacher. And maybe that's the case with some of you. You're in schools, you're supporting students, you're just not the one up in front of them every day. So I'm glad to be here, and I hope you'll find something useful in my presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see my slides. Let's see here from the beginning. Okay, sorry, I thought I was at the beginning. Quick preview, giving away all my secrets. Okay. All right, so periodically I will ask questions, just 3 or 4 times. I would ask you at that point to unmute and just share your thoughts for the benefit of the group. Okay, so today's objectives are that you will gain perspective on children's savings accounts, or CSAs, and how they shape early college identity or early college awareness. In the field, we refer to the power of a CSA to build college-bound identity as the motivational power of assets. And second, I hope that you will understand the early award model in scholarships and how it is a powerful innovation in the delivery of financial aid that shapes children's college-bound identity. Okay. Okay, sorry. So the Community Foundation's Early Award Scholarship Program is a type of CSA, Children's Savings Account. And now the concept of a children's savings account is an easy one. At the most basic level, it's just a long-term savings or investment account for children, anywhere from birth through age 18, and it's reserved for post-secondary education. So families open a savings account as early as birth or kindergarten and reserve it for education. They make deposits, and many programs, just like ours, provide incentives to engage with the account. So maybe there's an enrollment bonus or a savings match, and all those deposits are invested to grow. When a student graduates from high school and enrolls in a post-secondary program, the CSA helps pay for the costs of the program, and hopefully they persist and graduate. While the graphic here says college, we recognize any post-secondary program. So it could be a 2-year, 4-year degree, trade certification, vocational credential. Now, early research has shown that low-income families, a child in a low-income family, even with less than $500 in a CSA, is 4 times more likely to graduate from college. And it's because CSAs increase parental expectations, which raise the student's academic performance. CSAs help to overcome some of the negative association between material hardship and children's social emotional development. And CSAs grow a college-bound identity, which impacts school engagement. So leaders in the CSA field include those that are privately funded through a philanthropist, like Harold Alfond, who's the founder of Decker Shoes in Maine, and his estate provides a $500 deposit for every child who's born in the state of Maine. CSAs are also publicly funded through the state or city funding, such as in San Francisco, where the mayor and the treasurer got behind the movement and provided every child born in San Francisco with a CSA. In both of these programs, just like in ours, there are efforts made to help families engage with their funds. As for Maryland, I just became aware of the state contribution program, which awards families a savings match or a savings bonus when they make qualifying deposits to their 529 account. More than 1 million kids have CSAs. There are more than 100 programs throughout the country, and the size of the field has tripled in the last 5 years. So that's what a CSA is. And I'd like to ask you to invite you to unmute and just share your familiarity with children's savings accounts. Do you have you heard of these programs? What do you know about the concept of saving for college using a savings account?
Well, I first want to say the $500, if they were born in Maine, every child born in Maine automatically gets $500 into a children's savings account.
That's right.
That's just innovative and incredible. And maybe I live in the wrong state, even though it's cold in Maine. Kim, I see your hand.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Ayana on this one because we were having just a introductory conversation probably 1.5 years ago, and she turned me on to the state contribution here in Maryland, which is yearly, up to $500 yearly. until the child is 26, which is incredible. With just a $25 minimum deposit, you can get $500 from the state for 20 years or more. So I work at a nonprofit where we have now integrated that into our pitch to families. If they will sign up, enroll their kid in a 529 fund, enroll in the state matching grant, we will give the $25 every year to the fund so that they are eligible for that $500. That said, it's like pulling teeth. I mean, that automatic in San Francisco where
Yeah, in San Francisco, it's automatic and universal. So that's a real service to those families that they don't even have to take the action of enrolling.
that's like a real hurdle for people, even though it's a relatively simple process. Just the idea that it's this financial thing and you have to log into T. Rowe Price and all, blah, 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 blah. It's been a real hurdle, even though, we spend months on it. So anyway.
I love that you provide the $25. I mean, they still have to take that action, but you'll even provide the qualifying deposit. So great idea. Okay, well, let's move on. And I wanted to share this graphic about why CSAs are important and how much hope we have in them. We all know that there's an income gap that correlates with race, and we talk about ending poverty and closing the racial wealth gap. Asset researchers suggest that income approaches must be augmented with asset approaches that build wealth. So while income provides the foundation to get out of poverty, day-to-day poverty, assets are the inertia that empowers them with the capability not only to move out of poverty, but to pursue happiness, pursue their dreams. Assets are stored up income, like squirrels who store away nuts for a long winter. Assets help families in case of emergency so that one health crisis or car repair does not plunge them into poverty. Assets also give people the means to begin defining what their future will look like. Dr. William Elliott, who is a leading CSA researcher at the University of Michigan, who was homeless himself as a child, he calls assets tangible hope. Tangible because it's a determinant of behavior, not just wishful. He says tangible hope is determinant of behavior because people pay attention to and act on things they perceive can make a difference in their lives. Assets give people a stake in the future, that is the
My own
the
the
future
only
today.
okay, you can
So
join.
see-
You froze for 1 second.
You asked me to pause for a second?
I think you may have froze for 1 second. I'm not sure if I'm the
Oh.
only one you froze for. No,
Okay.
everyone's shaking their head too. No, you're great. Continue.
Okay, good. Okay, so in Wabash County, the local YMCA launched a CSA program 10 years ago. It was called Wabash County Promise. And you think, why would a YMCA do that? Aren't they all about swim and gym? But they also have, as part of their mission, to nurture the whole child and to close the achievement gap. So the goal of the Wabash County Promise was for every kindergarten through third grader to open a 529 account, and if possible, deposit $25 to earn a $75 savings match. The students also participated in a couple of days of college curriculum during College Go Week in September. And they did a half a day of activities on a college campus that's nearby, building early college identity through school and through family participation. So as you can tell from the photos you've seen so far, our county's population is not very diverse. We are 92% white, 5% Hispanic, 3% Black. At the same time, we are a rural county with a lot of poverty, a drug problem, and a low percentage of adults who have more than a high school diploma. More than half of our students are on the free and reduced lunch rolls. And we've seen manufacturing companies change and move away, those companies who used to be able to provide jobs to adults without a post-secondary education. Well, they're mostly gone. Even another one closed in this past month. So with these demographics, we are intensely interested in promoting early college awareness and wealth building through CSAs. Through the Community Foundation's support of the Wabash County Promise, we were introduced to the Mott Foundation. Now, Mr. Mott is the founder of General Motors. So that foundation in Flint, Michigan, was now willing to help the Community Foundation launch the next phase of CSAs for Wabash County. So we've had several years of kindergarten through third grade. Now they're ready for the next stage, and they funded us to explore early scholarships. Scholarships awarded to 4th through 8th grade students to their CSAs. Now I'll pause for a moment to say that community foundations are known for scholarships, the kind that seniors apply for, in their last year of high school. We work with donors who want to give in memory of someone or help a low-income demographic or help students who want to study medicine or whatever. So we're in the business of scholarships, but we have seen that scholarships awarded in the senior year are not the silver bullet. They have some limitations. Even a full ride scholarship has not been the answer to make sure that every student who wants to go to college can go. So I want to ask you, who are familiar with scholarships and traditional financial aid, what limitations do you see to that senior year scholarship? Do the students you work with, are they motivated by those scholarships? Are they counting on those? Have those made a difference in getting the kids you work with to college? What do you think?
This is Ayana again. I think the full ride is definitely a motivator, but for students who still have economic challenges, there's still that summer melt, right? There's still that hump to get over. So maybe you have a full ride, but you still expected to have a parent contribution, or you may be still expected to do the enrollment deposit or housing deposit, and those factors may prohibit you from getting to the larger piece of money. So that may be one factor.
Yeah, very good. You have to get creative getting from graduation to that first day of school in college. Any other thoughts about scholarships?
I think that
I don't want to yeah, go ahead.
I think that sometimes when it comes to the scholarships, it seems like they're mainly geared to the success of the student. I do know that due to COVID years, a lot of students struggled with those years, and it wasn't, and I won't say just for academic reasons, but sociological reasons as well. And so now coming back to school in a mix of being out of school for 2 years, when I'm starting to see kids struggle with just the motivating factor of even just wanting to obtain a scholarship because they feel like they messed up their COVID years, that they're not going to get it anyway. And so just, it seems like more so just having more so unique scholarships for kids who can, kids who can sell they self, market their self, instead of having a transcript market them, in which maybe due to other, outside factors is some of the reasons why maybe they fell behind.
Sure. Yeah. Great point. What grade students are you talking about, for example?
So I have seniors, 12th graders.
Okay. Okay. And they're coming back from missing that time in COVID and feeling behind, feeling not able to.
Right.
Really
It's like they feel like maybe they fell behind a little bit too much, and maybe, of course, the last 2 years maybe they haven't put in the hard work that now we want them to put in now that they're in person, and so it's just discouraging.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw another hand.
Yeah,
Kim
hi,
Jolly?
this is Kim Jolly again. I just,
Great.
the hurdle that we have had with a lot of scholarships is that it's essay based, and even a short essay for a kid from Baltimore City schools can be incredibly intimidating. Years of disinvestment in our public schools, and now, they don't maybe have the writing skills that someone who's out in the suburbs may have, and they're starting behind, in 1,000 ways. But that essay is just like, I can't get kids to write an essay. And if
Yeah.
I ask them to, it's 3 sentences.
Yeah.
It's just a major hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels so vulnerable. Yeah. Let's see. I see another hand. Go ahead.
Is it me? I'm sorry,
Yes.
Joanne. Okay, I wasn't sure. Um, I was going to share that I think sometimes the support, I know with scholarships, it involves some extra signatures, it involves a recommendation letter, and depending on your school and your relationship with those, your admin and your teachers, it's very slim that you have anybody you trust enough to write about you. And young people are very honest and open about this, and that there is no one I've connected with that I want to say anything about me. So I would say just having that support on in a classroom and even at home with those who are, you need that last signature, may need information for your finances from your parents. Just getting all that and gathering that in the deadline, this seems to be more of a challenge. I find students saying out loud and kind of, pumping their brakes on rather they even want to talk to adults about what they're interested in, this idea of scholarship.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Those recommendations.
Yeah.
I think.
Good. Yeah, I think we have Corey. I'm gonna make you the last comment, Corey, and then we're gonna move on to the next slide.
I'll be quick. Basically, the individuals that have already stated, and I know the last person mentioned what I was going to chime to, which was deadlines. The deadlines are sometimes so short that in the process of gathering all of that information that she just mentioned, recommendation letters, alerting them of requests for recommendation letters, retrieving them back to compile them and submit them with a lot of the scholarship requirements, which probably is another issue for some students, that is requiring so much information that they don't have enough time to gather everything, and they become discouraged from fulfilling the process and completing it by the deadline date. And as you said, without an advocate or someone that is working with you to push you and to encourage you throughout the process, which many students don't have. Programs like mine, Trio Upward Bound program, provide that opportunity to our students, but not all programs do. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, very good. It's we see the donor side. They're so excited to establish a scholarship, and really that's the beginning of the work, and it can be such a mountain that faces those students if they even make it to the traditional applicant pool. I mean, one limitation that we really see is well, I'll just show you the kind of the standard ones that we say that you've talked right into. A middle school student may not be very motivated by a scholarship. It's so far away, you know, and is their identity, I mean, if they don't already have the identity, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a scholarship, being told that you can apply for a scholarship in your senior year, you know, that's just feels very irrelevant, and it does not include the very students who need the help, you know, because they may have decided already that that post-secondary education is not attainable for them. So what we've done is put that same money to work early in a student's life. We received this grant from the Mott Foundation, and we met with teachers and administrators in our county and asked, if you had $250 per student in grades 4 through 8, what would you incentivize? What would you attach the scholarships to? And overwhelmingly, the educators said, we just want students to do the things we already asked them to do, like their reading assignments, their math assignments, and some college and career exploration. So here's how the program works. First, the parents enroll their student in a 529 plan and sign a participation agreement with the Community Foundation. And once the student is enrolled, 4th through 8th grader earns scholarship each academic quarter in 3 areas. One for savings, for a deposit to their 529 account. Another area is learning, so completing 100% of their in-school work. And the last area is career and college go, related to post-secondary preparedness. Those scholarships in their fund accumulate, and they're available up to age 26. The way that the students can request those funds is they submit a tuition bill to us, or if tuition is covered, they can submit receipts for a laptop or books, and we will send a check from their fund directly to the post-secondary education institution where they are enrolled. But let me put an actual student, put it in her words. Well, she was coached, but she summarizes the program here in about 30 seconds. So I'll play that for you.
Hi, I'm Lacey Trump. After I graduate high school, I'd like to go get my vet license in college. College has a lot of bills for me to pay, and I needed a way to make that money, so I signed up for the Early Award Scholarships program. It helps pay for things like books, classes, and many other education-related expenses. It's a great way to rest in comfort, to know that you already have money for your future education. It is perfect because I'm getting money for assignments I'm doing already. If you're a good student and turn in your assignments on time, it pretty much guarantees you're getting money. It's totally free to sign up, and I would totally recommend it.
So she's a fast talker, but she clearly sees the link between her performance in school today, not straight A's, but just doing the work, completing the assignments that are part of learning, connecting that with the future. Just briefly, I'll show you the full schedule of awards that students can earn. On the left is the scholarship, and on the right is the amount and the quarter in which it's offered. It would be much easier if we could just give a lump sum at the very end, but it's the repetition and the frequency of knowing, oh, I'm earning this, it's going to help me go to college one day. And over the 5-year period, students, if they do everything, will have $1,000 in their fund. I know some of you are starting to work with middle school students, and so I'm just shining a light on a couple of those scholarships. On the left here is a high school course planning workshop. We just give these instructions to the teacher and the counselor, and they help explore diploma types and map out their high school courses. The video scholarship here on the right is a parent one. The parent can earn $20 for the scholarship fund if they watch a video about how to pay for college, do a practice FAFSA, and find out about sources of financial aid. Things we'd like students and families to know about in 8th grade rather than, as seniors. It's good to know well in advance. We're a little short on time. I was going to ask what you see what behaviors we've incentivized, and I would be interested in hearing what behaviors you would incentivize or what you've heard from your teachers that you work with. I think I'm going to leave that one for maybe the Q&A if there's time to come back, but just think about, that's what we did with the scholarship money. That's where we attached it. What would you incentivize? Just quickly, we need to remind students that they're earning this money. Again, they hear so many messages every day. There's so much chaos. We just have to keep reminding them the money is there. They get these fund statements. Hopefully they're discussing them as a family. We recognize students. We give them candy bars with fund balance printed on a sticker, so the candy gets their attention. But again, it's, you have potential, you have a future, you have assets. So the numbers of students we're working with. We have about 30,000 students in our county. And so between grades 4 and 8, we have 300 to 400 students in a grade. And about 60% of students are enrolled in our program. And their fund balance, you can see a high and an average figure there to give you an idea. Our program has been researched by Dr. William Elliott at the University of Michigan. And just briefly, he can't study yet whether our program helps students graduate from college because it hasn't been around that long. But he has studied interim measures, and he's found that compared to non-participants, those in our program do score higher on the state. This is the Indiana State Standardized Math Test. They show stronger college-bound identity. This is on a survey, as well as social emotional health, which shows up on a survey, and they show patterns of saving more and saving more often. And the real finding that we're excited about that he's found is that the impact of the program is most significant for students from low-income families. And that is how we reimagined the delivery of financial aid of scholarships. We have funded it in part, as well as the Mott Foundation. The schools have been our partners, and we're grateful for the research that's been done that will hopefully draw in more donors and even some government funding. We haven't gotten there yet, but I hope you can see the power of starting early and linking the building of assets with early college awareness. And I think, so that's the material I wanted to get through, and I think we can go to questions, or Ayana, however you want to.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. That was a lot of great information. One thing that stood out for me was that students who have even $500 or less in a college savings plan are 4 times more likely to attend college. That's huge. And it just shows just that small amount can even start building that college-bound identity very early on. So we do have a question in the chat. Kim, did you want to unmute, or I can read it?
I just wondered, and I think I missed how many years you've been enrolling parents, but I wondered if your enrollment numbers had increased in the early awareness scholarship as more parents heard about the program.
Yes, over the years it's increased and then kind of leveled off around 60%. And I think it was you maybe who said, it's like pulling teeth, even though it's free money. There's skepticism it's too good to be true, or I don't, it sounds like a government program, I don't want to get involved in that, or just I didn't go to college, my kid doesn't need to go to college. And of course, just, gosh, there are so many demands on parents that one more form that doesn't have immediate relevance, it's just going to get put aside. So yeah, I would say we overcame first couple years, got through some of those barriers, and it's leveled off. The other 40%, you know, I would say a few of those are parents who think they're wealthy, they don't need it or whatever, but many of those are the very children who need the help the most. And so we just try to find creative ways to draw them in.
So while I've got you, I have another question. Is what happens to the money if it's not claimed for educational expenses?
Right, good question. So the scholarships remain at the Community Foundation until age 26. And at that time, they return to the general fund and can be earned by other students. So, and that's in contrast to the 529 funds, because the family owns those, and those are there for the life of the beneficiary, and the parent can change the beneficiary. But our scholarships, yeah, if they're not claimed by 26, they go back in the pot. Yeah.
And Joanne, I think I recall us speaking before. There was an interesting conversation in Congress about what if, you know, the kid gets a full ride, but they have 529 plan money. Prior to this, they wouldn't be able to take it out without penalty. But I remember we had a conversation about that might be changing.
Yes, that's right. And because we do get the question a lot of, well, what if my child doesn't end up going to college, or like you said, doesn't need the money? The scholarship money, as I said, stays at the Community Foundation, but the 529 money, near the end of 2022, Congress passed the good news that the 529 funds can be rolled over into a Roth IRA. Now there's some fine print, you know, the account has to exist for at least 15 years, and it's still subject to the Roth IRA contribution limits. But yeah, that's just yet another reason we've taken away a reason not to sign up, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good, you know, almost rebuttal for, as you say, caregivers who are like, well, my child may not ever go to college, but
Right.
eventually we're all going to retire, hopefully. So that's really a good piece there. Corey, I see your hand up. I'm not sure if that was up from before or if you have a question now. But as we wrap up, I would love for folks to share any comments or anything they didn't know before that they learned kind of while on the call.
Sorry,
Yes. Okay, that's all right. Jolie, is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just very, very excited to see that incentive program. I mean, the way it was spelled out, the number of things that students can get rewarded for. And often hear young people go, well, what's this for? Why do I need this? Why is this relevant? And I think there's one thing to hear teachers say, but there's another thing to know that it's attached to their future. The post-secondary future, those who have these big dreams of becoming something, becoming a thing. I just think it's exciting to kind of see there's incentives for doing well and participating, you know, even writing. The reward of writing is, I mean, once upon a time writing was an art. Now it's like a chore, right? And you go, how do you encourage children, even if it's through candy, even if it's through to knowing that there's money on the other end of it? It's a very exciting, and I would love to share that with young people. I think we'll have a good time just learning that wait, there's money, Miss Jolie, on the other end of me doing really well. I would love to be the person who is able to present that. So thank you for giving me some tips and tricks on how to approach and incentivize some of the very things they do every day that they may take for granted in education.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for students to see the relevance of writing that paragraph today. What does that have to do with my future? But we're hoping it's helping to address that. Yeah.
Ms. Fitch, Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to make a comment. I think it's really good that you actually reminded us of what Congress, actually passed, because I totally forgot about that. And that is important because obviously Roth IRAs in general, even though they're not money market accounts, it's still investments. You can still make investments in different, categories, which some of them are like index funds, which actually you can gain money quarterly, right? Or yearly, so that's very important, especially when the market is doing really well. It's also just important to hear what I learned about in terms of, hey, even if they have $400 in their account, right, or $500 how much more likely they are to graduate. It's very interesting. Where I work actually is a very interesting dynamic. So some of my students, like, EFC is going to go away. But I have some who have a $32,000 EFC, right? Or I also have some who have like a zero EFC. But I can see how it could benefit all of them actually, with that type of college planning. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah. And I really like the fact that you all send out those statements in the mail, almost like a bank statement, because I think that encourages us as parents to stop and take a moment, and it sets the stage for those college-bound identity conversations, because we're on the hamster wheel. We're going as parents. So to get an envelope in the mail with your name on it as a child, that's always exciting. A package, my kids love a package, the Amazon truck, or a letter with their name on it. And so it just encourages that conversation. So, even as, a fourth or fifth grader, it's almost assumed, right, that you have faith and trust in me that I'm going to be doing something past high school because you've already started investing in me.
Right. Yeah, it's that increasing the parental expectations, or just having an occasion to express them. Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
and it's a little bit of a financial literacy opportunity as well, because the statement shows the deposits. I'm sorry to say last year it showed some negatives because of the market. So that's a discussion, but we're back in positives again this year, luckily. But yeah, it's financial literacy as well.
That's good. That's so true. Sita and Annetta, I see you have a question or a comment in the chat. Did you want to unmute or did you want me to read that?
You can read it.
No problem. Annetta said, lawmakers moving forward with plans to abolish Maryland 529 board, settle claims for prepaid college trust accounts. Oh, yes. So definitely in Maryland, there are two different types of programs. One is the I'm sorry, that's a tongue twister, prepaid program, but the other one is administered through T. Rowe Price. So that is more of the investment piece. So thanks for bringing that out, Annetta. And Sita said, learning about the benefit of a college savings account on a child's likelihood of going to college is very impactful. As someone who works at the middle school level, I'm motivated to teach families and students about these benefits. Great, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a debacle. I like that word. Definitely. So thank you. I think you've given us a a lot, Joanne, to consider and to think about as we see getting that college-bound identity established early on. You can't wait until senior year. We know now that's too late. So getting that established early on, having that tangible asset attached to it. I love that you all have those candy bars with the deposit amount or the balances on them. That's always great. I think there was a slide too where you showed there was also like a student of the month or something like that. So I love that they had that component. And I'm not sure if everyone heard this piece, but what was impactful for me as well is that the parents can contribute by doing their activities. So I heard you say that there's parents can complete like a mock FAFSA in middle school. Can you say a bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. There's a scholarship that's worth $40. It's our biggest one because it's like asking the most of parents. They can do one of two things. They can apply for the state's, it's called 21st Century Scholars, and it's income-based. You have to apply for it in 8th grade or you've lost your opportunity. But if you don't qualify for that by your income, you can instead fill out a practice FAFSA at the website FAFSA Forecaster. And then the parent sends us their EFC just to prove that they've done it. And they can even just use practice numbers if they want, but it's just the action of, you can know how much money you're going to have to plan for years in advance. Yeah.
That's so good. I love that. That's so good. Okay, you give us a lot to chew on, and I thank you so much for that. It is 10:52, so it looks like I may be able to give you all 20 minutes of your day back. Any last minute questions or comments?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was thinking back to like when I was applying for schools and stuff, and I wish I heard of it because being a first generation college student, I had to do like everything. So my finances for college depended on me enrolling, applying, and things like that. If it wasn't for CollegeBound, shameless plug, it would have been a lot more difficult. But like the advisor at my school helped me with everything, and like even down to applying for different scholarships. But the scholarship process was like very overwhelming, having to write like 10 different essays. But yeah, I think it would be best if students, I think it's great that they're getting like a taste of what to do for college in middle school, because I wasn't even thinking about college in middle school. Like we went on tours and stuff. I went to Bliss. We went on tours and stuff, but it didn't hit me until 11th grade. Like, oh dang, this is like, is not do or die, but like at that age, it was like do or die.
Yeah, it's real, right?
Yeah, but Mr. Harold, Anthony Harold.
Oh, Mr. Harold, yes.
Yes.
He's my neighbor. I'll tell him you were on the call. And Kim, thank you so much for sharing out about the details about the Maryland program and the $500 for the state portion. And I believe you also said that can be done by 2 different adults. So really you could get, I guess, $1,000 possibly a year up to age 26. So, or up to age 24. So that's pretty incredible. So, yeah, just thinking about, it's not, GPA based, it's not SAT based. It's just based on really income and being in it to win it, early on. So if you think about it, by the time you're a junior, I guess, Kim, you could have possibly maybe even $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, before the market gets a hold of it, so it can be pretty incredible returns.
Thank you all so much for joining. Before you go, in the chat, there is a survey. There is also registration for 2 weeks from today. We're going to be talking about the NAIA, the Other Athletic Scholarship. We are always talking about NCAA Division I and how few students actually go NCAA Division I. But we want to add another piece to our repertoire as we work with our students in and around Baltimore City. So we're going to have an expert. Her name is Kimberly Oden. She works with the LA Unified School District. She also is a professor, adjunct professor at UCLA, who works with folks just like us who want to get certified as independent educational consultants. So we're super lucky to have her. So in 2 weeks, we're going to adjust our time because she is obviously on Pacific time. So we're going to adjust our time on Wednesday, the 24th at 11 a.m. We're going to be talking about the NAIA. We're going to really talk about how we can help our students because we know there are 4,000 colleges across the US, but only 80 of them give full rides, right? But we can piece together a full ride and help our students get to where they need to be. So I am going to stop the recording now, but I am going to make sure that I